Hey, what's happening, everybody out there? My boxing fans, my fight fans, my everything that has to do with putting hands on another man's face fans. This your boy, Mr. Pound for Pound himself. It is going downtown. My man, Bernard Hopkins versus the man, Chad Dawson. It is definitely gonna go down. We're talking October 15th of this year. It's gonna be at the Staples Center, Los Angeles. It's going down. It's for the WBC light heavyweight title. My man, Bernard Hopkins, a living legend. You gotta give him props. Still doing it, fighting the young fighters, again going up against the 29-year-old good fighter named Chad Dawson. Bernard, let's see, 46 years old. I mean, what can you say about the man? I personally think he's a living legend. Everybody listening to this and everybody out there needs to recognize we're in the presence of a living legend, Bernard Hopkins. Real talk, like this man is the real deal. I'm just gonna recap I'm just gonna talk about the little pre-fight prediction of mine and what I think is gonna happen. Pretty much, you guys can already tell from my excitement, my levels of joy. I personally love Bernard Hopkins. I think he's a great fighter. I do think he's a living legend. I do think we are in the presence of greatness, and I do think he will not be appreciated until he is dead and gone. But I can't say nothing more about the man. I've always praised this man before he was even anything. You know what I mean? I was telling my friends about him. We used to talk at the boxing gym about the guy, people that knew boxing. We knew way before the middleweight tournament that he was going to run through and win that thing, even against, a hyped up Felix Trinidad and William Joppy. And, we just knew Bernard Hopkins was the truth. You know what I mean? This guy came straight out of prison, went to boxing. It don't get no more hardcore than that. You know what I mean? He wasn't no Cinderella story, pretty like a Sugar Ray Leonard, went to the Olympics and had a good amateur career and blah, blah, blah. He didn't do none of that. He's just a gritty guy, real gritty, that learned the skills. He learned on the job. You know what I mean? He learned on the job as fighting. And that's just as raw as it gets, you know what I mean? If you're a street guy, you like street ethics and all that, you love Bernard Hopkins, you know what I mean? 46 years old, let's talk about it. His last few fights, we're talking John Pascal, the rematch and the first fight. I personally thought he won both. Pascal won, got a draw, scathed away with a draw, but later was... we had to settle the score with that, with a unanimous decision. I knew that was going to happen. They kind of robbed Hopkins, and I felt they did that because they were in Pascal's backyard. Won't talk about that. He's coming off Roy Jones Jr. He beat unanimous decision. Enrique Ornelas, we're not going to go there. That was a tune-up. Kelly Pavlik, woo! I mean, the Kelly Pavlik fight, I told everybody he was going to mop Kelly Pavlik, and he did just that. He didn't just mop him. He had a few highlight reels in that fight, and it was just, I mean, he got no beautiful 1-2-3 combination, slide off to the side, step around, 1-2-3. It was just one of the cleanest punches I've seen for a guy in his 40s to do. Cleanest combination. I mean, you don't see 40-year-olds running combinations like that on young fighters in their 20s and 30s. It just doesn't happen. Winky Wright dominated him, unanimous decision. Antonio Tarver dominated him, unanimous decision. Jermaine Taylor, I thought those fights were both HBO hype, Jermaine Taylor victories. That's all that was. If you guys go really back and watch those fights, Hopkins won the first fight in my eyes. The second fight, Jermaine, I give Jermaine the second fight. But in the first fight, Hopkins won that fight. They just gave it to Jermaine because they were trying to build a fighter. They really thought Hopkins was getting old, and they were trying to, dim down that light of that star, and they were trying to brighten up a light of Jermaine Taylor's star. And ironically, the star they were trying to dim is still around and still ironically in the top 5 pound for pound right now. So HBO didn't do a very good job in picking who they thought was going to be up and be down. So they should have gave Bernard the just due against Jermaine Taylor, which they didn't do. But anyway, he's still around. He's still top 5 pound for pound. Jermaine Taylor is still somewhere, trying to regain his marbles and trying to retrain and retool himself. As us fighters say, I'm going to go back and retool myself. I had a couple losses. Let me go retool myself. Shut up. The whole retooling myself means I really need to think about this. I really need to think about my career again because it's pretty tough out there. That's what the whole retooling myself means. Anyway, so back on the fight. Chad Dawson, I'm gonna keep it straight with you guys. You know what I mean? I've been conversing. Let's say it the right way. I'm gonna talk less like a fighter and talk more like a gentleman. I've been conversing with my people out there and the people that we talk to and we converse. We've been talking, okay? And so, you know, I talk to everybody. It's cool. And I converse with everybody and we chat it up. Check it out. I'm giving you guys a quick one on this. Chad Dawson, to me, nothing. Bernard Hopkins is going to beat him. And he's going to beat him pretty handily because just off a lot of factors. Number one, he's going to beat him off experience. He's going to do pretty much what he did to Jean Pascal. He's going to rough him up. He's going to use his experience to rough him up. And his boxing, you know, a lot of people don't give Bernard credit about his defense. You know, his defense, he really doesn't get hit that much, okay? We saw him get hit and clocked against Jean Pascal. True. But the only reason he got hit and clocked is openly admitting himself admitted that he opened up purposely for, number one, to make it exciting, and number two, because he wanted to. And so when you open up, it doesn't matter, you know, when it happens. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where in the ring it happens. It doesn't matter how good the fighter is. You open up, you open up. When you open up, something else is open. When your chin leaves your guard. I mean, I'm sorry, when your punch leaves your chin, when your hands leave here. I wish you guys could see what I'm saying. Anyways, when your hands are up in an up position. They should be by your chin, elbows down, covering the body. When they leave that area to engage in a punch, you're open. You know, so when you take a risk, you're giving her, you know, you're making a risk. When you throw your punch out, that area in which your arm is extended is open for a punch to come back. So, and when you're 46 years old, your reflexes aren't as fast, you're going to get caught with something. And he got caught by Jean Pascal. But in my opinion, Jean Pascal is a lot harder puncher than Chad Dawson. Dawson, rangy, fast guy, maybe a good counterpuncher, but he does not have any of the intangibles to thwart a Bernard Hopkins, a legendary fighter like Hopkins, a strong, gritty, experienced, older fighter, dirty fighter. He knows what to do to win. He knows how to get to victory. He fights. He is the essence of boxing. He is the heir to Hagler, I would say. He's the next Hagler. You know, Hagler left the throne. If I were to go like this, if I were to ask people right now, if I were sitting in front of you guys and I was like, Hagler, okay, right after Hagler, give me a great middleweight right now, boom, give it to me right now. You guys would probably say Hopkins, you know, and I would say you only have 3 seconds to answer that question. 3 seconds right now, middleweight champion. Who's better than who after Hagler was great? Middleweight right now, boom, give it to me. You guys would probably all be like Hopkins, you know, unless you had to sit and think. But if you have to sit and think, that's not your real deep down heart answer. So for everybody out there that's listening, you all know Hopkins is a great middleweight champion, and look where he's at now. 46 years old, light heavyweight champion. He beats Dawson. I mean, if you guys throw me your opinions, it's all good. Throw me what you say. I just don't see anything in Dawson. I've saw his fights. It not really impressed me since day one. You know, they always talk big about him. Oh, he's got a Manuel Stewart in his corner. So what? You know, Manuel Stewart was in De La Hoya's corner. De La Hoya fired him, so he's obviously not that great. But if you really look back, I mean, look at what he's really done. You know, we could track back his last 10 fights. You know, he fought Eric Harding, 23-3, who Tarver knocked out in blistering fashion. You know, he fought Thomas Adamek, right? He beat him by a unanimous decision, but Adamek is plotting. He is European. If you want to be blunt without being too racist, he's European. He's plotting. He's very predictable. The European style fight is very predictable. You know what I mean? It's like you watch one, you watch them all. You know, then he fights Jesus Ruiz. He fights Epifino Mendoza. He fights Glenn Johnson, who's old. He fights Antonio Tarver twice, who he gets credit for beating. Like, oh, okay, like Hopkins didn't just come off beating this dude. He fights Glenn Johnson again, unanimous decisions him again. Then he fights John Pascal to a draw. It's like, no, I'm sorry, excuse me. He fights John Pascal in what was a controversial fight, ended in 11th rounds. And then he fights Diacono, you know, and it's kind of like, what have you really done in the ring? You know what I mean? And then you to go against the Hopkins, there's no way that I would give him any kind of leverage in winning the fight. I don't care what his ranking is. He ranked number 2, in the world light heavyweight, but who cares? That's just rankings, that's media, and that's just hype. And you look at his record, he's 30-1, no draws. But he does have that loss to Pascal. You know what I mean? But it was controversial. But that being said, I mean, just look at his style. He's not a very strong guy. You could tell physically he's not really strong. He's not stronger than Hopkins. I don't think even at 29 years old he's stronger than a 46-year-old Hopkins. I really don't. I don't think he muscles Hopkins around. I don't think he has the power and the pop. And if you guys know the difference, there's a difference. There's pop, which means a snappy punch. That's the type of punch that hits you in the nose, kind of makes your eye water. That's pop. Power is the type of punch that hits you in the nose and knocks you out. He has pop. He doesn't have power. And to keep a guy like Hopkins off you, you need true power. You know what I mean? Hopkins has been hit with true power before. I mean, he's not really going to respect you if you don't hit him with true power. I mean, Felix Trinidad clocked him right on the jaw with a left hook and didn't even move him. You know what I mean? And we're talking young Hopkins, but you got to remember, it's still Hopkins. It's still the same person, the same guy, the same brain, the same personality, just a few years on his body. If you guys look at yourself and say, well, am I any different than I used to be? Probably not, but maybe physically you declined a little bit, but mentally and in your mind and strength and no mental strength, you're probably the same person. I think Hopkins outmuscles him. I think that's gonna be the telling tale. He's gonna out experience Dawson. He's gonna outmuscle Dawson. If it was a pure boxing match, if Dawson wants to be smart about it and stay and fight an amateur fight and stay outside and bop 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 with the jab, 1-2 combinations, step around and box Hopkins, he wins. But he won't do that. He's gonna get in the ring with a legend. He's gonna get shell shocked. He's gonna get these old school tactics and old school tricks done to him, and he's gonna be bewildered by it. I see Bernard Hopkins winning a unanimous decision against Chad Dawson, and that is my prediction. Guys, go ahead and get at me, tell me what you think. All right, you have a good day.